Most people think reinventing themselves is only about strategy, setting new goals, acquiring new routines, better habits. But real transformation, the kind that catapults you into a whole different dimension and unlocks your next level of income, fulfillment, or impact, happens when you become someone completely different before you've actually earned it. You can't think your way into a new life. You have to become the version of you who already lives it. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but in the last video, I talked about how most people unknowingly operate from a past version of themselves. From an identity they built in survival mode back in their childhood, designed to protect them, not help them thrive. And how that old identity quietly becomes a ceiling as we are growing up and we start setting more ambitious goals. Now, if that resonates with you, even if you're already making 10, 25, 50K a month, you probably still feel like you're dragging something heavy behind you. So today, I'm going to show you how to break that loop, and more importantly, how top performers reinvent themselves structurally to hit that next income level. Again, not with more hustle, but through identity alignment. Let's get into it. See, the truth is, you can stack all the strategies you want. You can optimize your funnel, read every business book, and wake up at 5 a.m. But if the version of you running those strategies still sees themselves as the underdog or the workhorse, or the one who's just lucky to be in the room, you will unconsciously filter every single opportunity through that old self-image. So you will hesitate. You will downplay your expertise. You will second guess your decisions or your offer. You will attract less than your worth because part of you still believes that's all you're allowed to have. And it's not because you're broken. It's because success isn't personal, it's structural. And if you make it personal, it will always backfire. Joe Dispenza says, to change your personal reality, you must first change your personality. That's right, your personality, aka your identity, which isn't who you are, it's who you learned to be. So it's just a mask or a costume that you put on. It's not the real you. It's the thoughts that you keep thinking, the emotions you keep feeling, and the choices you keep making. So if you wake up every day and you operate from the same internal state as you did yesterday, you don't create a new future. You just keep reliving the past. Dispenza's work is super powerful, but it's also a bit complex. So let me break it down in a way that actually clicks for success-driven people like yourself. There are 3 core phases you have to move through if you want to reinvent yourself. The first phase is awareness, catching the old you in the act. So you have to start noticing when you're being your past self. Not after the sabotage, but preferably before, when you're about to make a decision that would take you further away from your goals, not closer to them. When you notice yourself pulling back, after things already started going well, that's your old identity flaring up. The version of you that believes success equals potential danger or visibility equals rejection. Dispenza says you can't change what you're not aware of. And he's right. And that's why it's the first step, because especially in the beginning, you will catch yourself wanting to go back to your old ways that no longer serve you like 100 times a day. But you have to go through that process because you can't shift a habit that's running on autopilot. So the first step is simple but powerful. Catch yourself in real time when you start overthinking, shrink away from opportunity, procrastinate even though you're motivated, or when you choose busy work over bold action that actually gets things done. Because these things are not the result of your strategy failing. It's just your old identity kicking in. Now, the second phase is, after you recognize when you want to go back, is to interrupt that pattern. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about entering a space of no one, nowhere, in no time. That's when you unplug from your identity long enough to stop reacting to what has been and start creating. In other words, if your unconscious is running a survival script and you never interrupt it, you'll keep getting high effort but low return results. So when you catch the old identity trying to take over, pause and interrupt the pattern. Take a couple deep breaths and ask yourself, is this me creating or is this me surviving? That moment of choice, that's where your freedom begins. Now, the last phase of reinventing yourself is installing your new identity. Now, this is where it gets fun because now that you've created some space, you get to choose who shows up next. Dispenza calls this mental rehearsal. You visualize the version of you who's already living your future, and you want to feel what it would feel like if it were already true. Why? Because our brain can't tell the difference, basically can't distinguish between vivid imagination and a real memory. And when you practice being this new you consistently, your brain rewires itself. This is what we call neuroplasticity. And as a result of that, your decisions on how you're going to show up in the world change as well. You stop chasing success and you start acting like someone who already has it. All right, let's take this to the next level, because Dr. Joe Dispenza's work shows you how to access the quantum field, but I want to give you something that makes things even more predictable. See, in our work, we don't just shift your energy, we shift your whole structure. And structure is a system that has at least 2 points to it. In the case of building a life that you love, it's your current reality, where you're at right now, your desired reality, where you already have the thing that you now want, and an action to take that closes the gap between the two. Because whatever you focus on creates the tension that pulls your actions. Most people are in a reactive or problem-solving structure without even realizing it. They are not really focused on what they want. They are focused on trying to solve the way they feel incomplete about themselves. Like, I don't feel worthy, so I will prove myself with success. Or I feel behind, so I will fix it by chasing more. They are not moving toward a vision. They are trying to escape a problem. And that structure always leads to either burnout, overthinking, or self-sabotage, because it sets up oscillation. Because your fuel for taking action stops the moment you got even just a little bit ahead. But there's a better way. It's called a creative structure. In a creative structure, you focus on an end result you genuinely want, you accept where you are without making it wrong, and you step into the version of you who already lives that outcome. That focus creates natural tension, structural tension that wants to resolve itself. And if you anchor your identity in that desired future, then it will naturally pull you forward, because we always follow the path of least resistance. Now let's bring it home with this last concept. Dispenza says, when you marry a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you literally change your biology. In other words, if you feel successful, worthy, and safe, your body will start believing that's your baseline. And when your nervous system believes it's safe to have more, you will stop unconsciously sabotaging it. So you're not fighting for success anymore. You're simply receiving it as your new normal, as your new baseline. That's what the best in the world do. They don't get there, they start from there. So here's what I want you to try this week. Notice the moments you default back to your old identity, whether that's fear, proving, control, or doubt. Then interrupt it. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what would the next level me do in this situation? Next, choose from the future and act like it's already yours. Make decisions from the end result, not the current fear. And lastly, rehearse it daily, even for just a couple minutes a day. Embody the version of you who already has it. I promise you, this alone can change your life. But if you want to go deeper, I got something else for you. First, if you want help stepping into this new identity, I go deeper into all of this inside my free school community. It's called Superconscious Awakening, and it's not your typical mindset group. We don't just talk about goals there. We shift the structure that makes creating your dream life inevitable. So if you're tired of trying to manifest your way forward or meditate your problems away, this will hit different, I promise you. So join while it's still free. And secondly, if you're someone who knows you're meant for more, but for whatever reason you're still holding back, whether it's in business, creating content, or simply self-expression, and you want help shedding the old identity that's keeping you stuck, feel free to book a call and let's talk. We will look at where your current structure is misaligned and how to rebuild it around who you actually want to be. Keep in mind, this is way faster than traditional healing work, because we use a method called the Superconscious Recode to unplug and shift your resistance towards your desire in minutes. So if you value your own time and you know you're meant to do big things, you'll find a link in the description for that. If it resonated, please like the video so it reaches the people who really need it, and I'll see you in the next one.